Hello and welcome to episode number 85 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It's February 13th. My name is Daryl. Today I'm once again joined by my very good friend Sergio. How are you, man?
Daryl, I am doing pretty amazing. This year has been great. Every week is getting better. The games are good. The gaming culture is good. You know, we're not getting a lot of news, but do we need them?
Yes.
We do.
No, I agree with you actually. It's been I think it's been kind of an anticipatory year. I think we're getting ready for stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, we're building up to it. So, are you back around to happy on Animal Crossing again, or are you still angry?
No, we're
about
good.
something?
We're
good.
We're besties.
Sweet. Good.
Oh, the world is
Excellent.
good again.
I am glad to hear that. And you heard him. Kevin, how are you, man?
Man, I just gotta say, I'm feeling effervescent. You know, I got my kombucha back at again. Shout out to the Brew Doctor from Portland. Okay, I know we've gone over this a million times.
We're done.
No. Let me just say it real quick. Clear Mind has rosemary, mint, sage, and green tea. It is a very good.
I said we're done, man.
Fine. Sponsor us, please. Anyway, yeah. How are you doing, Daryl? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I had my moment of the year thus far just a few minutes ago. I told Sergio something he did not know about Animal Crossing. It's true. He can verify it later on. There you go.
So you are a bigger Animal Crossing fan, confirmed.
Confirmed. Done. Okay. So with that, we have kind of a fun episode. Just getting through some backlog of stuff. Kevin, what are we doing?
Oh man, what are we doing? I'm gonna tell you what we're doing. We're gonna do bump 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 on the spot. I think the fourth one. And listener mail. So we got questions for each of us, and questions from our listeners. You know what it is. You know how we do it. We're doing things the right way. The way it's been done in a situation that beholds our true character of good podcasting. Now,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Good podcasting that does not answer listener mails nearly often enough. So
True. But this is our chance to
sorry.
Get back with our listeners. They've been asking some questions, back and forth, day after day, and we're like, now is the time that we're gonna answer some questions. And then from us as well, because we always got some questions that we want to ask each other. So it's the table conversation. We're getting ready. Who's gonna go first? I don't know. One of us will.
And most podcasts in this vein, we would actually share our questions with each other. No, that's not in the vein of on the spot. We don't know what we're gonna ask. So
Right.
That's why it's on the spot.
it could be anything. So I am going to start it off with a fun one from Swilly. In our Discord, what are some of the worst level mechanics in games? He mentioned somebody really disliking wind mechanics. What other mechanics do you just not enjoy regardless of the game? I can start on this one.
That was a tough
me,
one, yeah.
Yeah, for me, quicksand. Every game that has ever had quicksand in it, I just hate it. Like the sand that kind of like drags you down and you can't jump very well out of it. Even like one of the best games of all time, Super Metroid, has it, and I hate that section. It's just awful. It's not fun. It's anti-fun. So yeah.
That's a good one. For me, what I call the Demon Souls mechanic. Now, it's not the worst level it's not the worst, but I don't enjoy it because if I have a bunch of gold, right? Say I don't know, Shovel Knight, right? Because they basically, if you fall into the pit, or you just you lose enough HP, or you just fall into the pit, you lose a bunch of gold. And sometimes when you lose the gold, it's in a place where you can't even reach for it the next time, and so you lose that gold forever. It's like, oh man, I guess I just have to try harder and collect more gold. And I mean, it is annoying. I don't enjoy it, but I do revel in the challenge. I don't think it's the worst level mechanic, but I don't enjoy it.
That's a good pick, and heaven forbid you die at some other place while you're trying to get back there. And oh no,
oh gosh, and credit to those. I don't know who invented this mechanic, but credit to that person. So whoever you are,
you suck. I think is what we're saying.
Pretty much.
For me, I'm gonna go with water levels, just swimming in general in games. I mean, sometimes you even have like two different swimming speeds, but I feel like it's never perfect. And then you always, for the most part, you always have to be worrying about, oh, do I have enough oxygen? When do I have to go back? Can I make it to the surface in time? It's realistic, but it's annoying. And then it changes the physics too. You know, you move differently. You might not be able to move at full speed. It's annoying. And then it's funny because in pretty much in Mario Kart 8 or even 8 Deluxe, you know, sometimes you're underwater and nothing really changes. And for when I first realized that, that kind of bothered me. Like I thought, hey, they're just breathing underwater, no problem. But now that I think about it, I mean that's how I like my water, non-intrusive.
Very
know,
breathable.
Yeah.
that reminds me of one level in, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Chemical Plant Zone, when I was a little kid.
Sonic water levels are the worst things in the world.
Oh my goodness.
They're
There's
the
this
worst
one-
things in gaming. I mean it.
Yeah.
I hate Sonic water. I don't know why. I just ugh.
It's just the most ironic thing. You know, granted that you have this super fast hedgehog who just goes blazing fast, and then only to be slowed down by water. I mean,
And then you're underwater and you're slow because you're like on the wrong side of a hill or something like that, and then eventually it starts the
Yeah.
it's horrible. It's
but then when
who
you
thought
hear
that
the,
was a good idea?
I don't know, but when you hear the what, you know, when he you know, catches the bubble, it's all good.
It's not all good. It still sucks.
Okay. I was just trying to find, you know, the silver lining here, but overall, it sucks.
So I actually
But-
kind of like water levels most of the time. I hate Sonic water levels, but most of the time, especially in like so the Donkey Kong Country games, I think do
Yes.
underwater levels really really well. I think you can do them, and I think they're pretty fun when they're done right. But yeah. What about wind mechanics? So the first thing that we got brought up was wind mechanics. I actually tend to like them in games. What about you guys?
Yeah, they can open up some interesting like puzzle mechanics. You immediately think of Zelda, you know, if there's a wind behind you, you're probably gonna jump further, at least in the top view Zeldas. Yeah, I like them. They make you think. They make things interesting.
I really like the way Celeste does the wind mechanic
Yeah.
because, you know, given the fact that you have the dash and then you know it's just, and then you have the ability to, you know, just be able to get through level by level, and you have to be very methodical in how you approach certain platforms and all that. So they do it pretty well. So I would not say that is the worst level mechanic, but I think it's a pretty, when done well, it's very good.
Yeah, fair enough. So there you go. Those are the worst level mechanics in games. Sergio, what question do you
Bam.
got?
Can we ask one from Shy Guy? I mean, he asked them when he was a listener.
Oh.
And this week he is a listener, so
Oh.
technically it counts. And
Yeah.
then he doesn't get to answer his own question, so then it's even better. You know what? Yes. Ask one from Shy Guy.
Nice. Well, I like this one. Shy Guy asked, can a game have too much content, even if all that content is high quality? And I'm gonna go with a resounding yes. And I immediately think of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which was a really good game, but in my opinion, it was too long for what it was. I believe it had five mansions or areas in total. I feel like four would have been better. And maybe three in a smaller one because they were too big. So it was all good, like good content, good missions. Not, it wasn't repetitive either. It was just good, but it felt like it dragged on a little bit.
You know, I'm very mixed about this one because
Yeah.
I was gonna say no because I was thinking about, I don't know, Fire Emblem. You know, there was a lot of good content, especially with the missions and the paralogs, and they're all very good, high quality. So I think that's a good example of a game having too much content, but in a good way. A game that doesn't, in a bad way. You know what? I don't know. That's a hard one. I have to think about this.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I get on it if only if I actually care about this, like seeing the completion of the game. So I've played games that have too many levels. I've played games that had like too much in there, and it's just a little overwhelming and such. But that only is a negative thing in my opinion if and only if I want to see the end of the game. So then I start going with like these story-driven games that drag on a little bit in the mid-range, which typically points me at maybe RPGs a little bit. Not every RPG needs to be 90 hours, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, some of them are better if they're in the 30-hour mark. But yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm if you kind of come from the I can put this game down type mentality, I don't really think that a game can have too much content. But if you do get invested in it, I have gotten to the point where I started resenting games because they were quote unquote preventing me from playing other games. So I kind of get I get the point of it. Actually, when he asked this, I think he was playing Rayman Legends, which has a ton of stages in it, and I think that kind of jumped there. And for that particular game, I'd probably say no, to be honest, because it's a platformer, and you don't care about the story. It's a platformer. You play it for the stages. So if you put it down for a while and then come back to it and have all new stages, great. Like what's the problem?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But I do have to agree with the RPGs. Like, I think one thing I just thought of, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, the part about trying to get all the, what do you call them? Is it the drivers? Just getting all the drivers. I got so obsessed. I'm like, yo, I want all the drivers in the world, and trying to figure out different ways to get all.
That's kind of on you though, getting all the blades. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm so mixed, because it's like it is good content, but it's on me because I don't have to do it, but I really want to. It's there. I want to do it. I want to. I felt like a completionist at one point. I was like, man, I just have to get all of them and just try different combinations.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, anyway.
Xenoblade 2 actually, it dragged at times, but God, if I didn't love that game, I did. Like, that's what I was playing. I'm like, this game is simultaneously amazing and terrible, and I love it. It's great. So, whatever.
Yeah, I really didn't like the voice actors. I thought it was a really good job, especially Rex. Oh man, that Scottish. I don't know.
I like Nia a lot in that game.
Yes, Nia's good too. Oh boy.
Cool. I think we exhausted that one. Kevin, you want to grab a question?
Yeah, I got one. Another one from our man, Shy Guy. The gamer lane, it works. We all know it does. Can you explain the science behind it for us?
So I'm gonna pull back the curtain on this question a little bit.
Wait. Okay.
We had a discussion like 5 minutes before the show started on what is the gamer lane.
You know what?
We're obviously the experts on it.
I'm gonna admit I was that guy. I did not know what that meant until I looked it up. Like, okay, now I know, because there's things in life where like I know what it is, but I don't know the name of it. And I'm like, okay, the gamer lane. It works when you think it does. Does that make sense? Like, especially when I'm playing. Let's example, 2010 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Okay, let's just put it into perspective. Okay, so you have this guy named Kevin. He's trying to go from 0.3 KDR to hopefully 1 KDR. And right now he's about like 0.5 to whatever, around that ballpark. And he's just he's playing through every single match, getting frustrated, throwing the controller up and down, within the 5-foot heights. And then as he plays match after match, I don't know why I'm talking about it in the third person, but he just gets very he leans more. He leans like to the point where he goes from 5 feet away from the screen to like a foot. And at that point, it's like, oh, I can barely see all
those.
That's
a heck of a lean, my friend.
Right. It's a big lean, and sometimes with the lean, you have to scooch in your chair a little bit, because you feel like the more you do it, the better you'll have a chance to win, which is just does not make sense. But for a while, he realizes, oh, well, maybe I should just sit up straight and not hurt his back. Or maybe I should sit up straight and not hurt my back. And in the end, I don't think that helped. but at times, it felt like it did work for me when I wanted to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I switched between first and third, but it just felt very appropriate.
He's just adding to the legend, man.
Right. Come on. Because when it comes to Call of Duty, you have to know the real players in the game, okay? I mean, yeah, I was a 0.3 KDR. I admit, I was terrible. Then I became decent, all right? And when you have that sort of achievement, that improvement in your life, you know that you can play with the best of them. I'm done hyping myself up right now. So, well, what are you guys?
I think you said it really well. It like whether it works or not, whether it makes you play better for that intense part of whatever game you're playing. I mean, it works as an enhancer. You're probably enjoying yourself more by by leaning. I mean, Rocket League overtime, you're gonna be leaning. Smash Brothers last stock, you're gonna be leaning. It just happens. It's part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have a twofold answer on this. And I mean, keep in mind, I did, this. I'm a former tournament player. Like, um, I have
Mm-hmm.
had my fair share of leans myself. So it's twofold, in my opinion, and to actually get a little scientific on it. One is purely superstitious. So one is purely, you're wearing a baseball hat, you turn it backwards to change your luck, you lean forward to change your luck.
Oh,
It
I like
is
that.
purely superstitious. I've
No.
seen people do that, like they're down 2 stocks in Smash, and then they lean forward. They're like, "Oh, this, I gotta change this." So, and honestly, to be honest, it works, especially if you have like if you're watching a sport and you turn your head around, you're probably not you're probably not affecting the game. I'm sorry, but if you're actually playing and you turn your head around, giving yourself kind of a mental no, I've got this. The Ash Ketchum, take my hat, turn around, and be a completely different competitor. That it kind of does work. It's a mental thing, that hypes you up. The second reason, it's all about focus. It's all about getting into what you're doing and having pure focus on it, because as soon as you lose focus, you start thinking about how the controller feels in your hands, or like you're leaning back and there's something out of the corner of your eye or something, then you've lost the game, right?
Mhm.
Right.
If you're playing something like Rocket League or Smash or anything competitive, and you lean forward, that's the actual act of like, no, this is my focus. I'm gonna be focused on this, and then this is that you just get more like in tune with the actual game, more in tune with what you're actually doing, and yeah, you can actually physically improve by leaning forward. It's so dumb, but it's true. Uh, as you're playing games, if you start taking them kind of seriously, paying attention to your own body posture and how you are playing the game is actually a huge part of it. Look at some old Smash Melee sets. Hungry Box used to stand up during his matches.
Oh wow.
Mm.
For the same reason, just to stay focused, stay
Yeah.
a little uncomfortable, so he could kind of like be awake, be there in the game, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's a good point, and I'm glad you brought it up because having even like the switch with the baseball cap or standing up or just whatever you can do to have that reset, I think is very important, and not just in video game, but in like all walks of life. Like especially if you're at work and you're trying to solve a problem or something, then you maybe take a break. You go outside for a bit. You do a 10-minute walk. You come back and you're refreshed. I'm like, okay, I think I know how to. You get a breather, and then you can calm down a little bit, and then soon enough you'll know how to solve the problem that you're facing at that time. So I think it is important. Focus and reset, they come hand in hand. So very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So jumping over to a question from Dragon. Do you think lives in video games, namely platformers, is an archaic system that doesn't deserve to return? Is it simply a waste of time, or is it okay to have in some cases, depending on how well it's balanced? Are game overs obsolete?
Ah.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it depends on the game. Like when you have a game like Celeste, like every time you fall into a pit or you get like onto the spikes or whatever, or what have you, you're always gonna restart at the beginning of that area, and so I think that makes sense, more so than just having like 3 lives, then boom, you have to start from the very very beginning of the stage. In games like Ninja Gaiden, I think for what it's trying to do to be very difficult, and it's like, hey, if you want to win, if you want to get through the stage, you have to do it with a certain number of chances, and if you can't do it, you gotta try again. it just depends on the intention of the game that you're playing, and so I don't think it's archaic. I think it's just a case by case basis, depending on the genre, depending on the game, and what the developers want the game to intend for the player. So
Yeah, I agree, and it's a very good way to have a genre. Let's just say, the classic platformer that can feel that can have like two different flavors to it. You can
mm,
have the classic one where you have 3 or 5 lives and then it's game over, or it's instant reboot to where you last died, like Celeste or a lot of recent games. And it's more of a recent mechanic. So the one with lives and with game overs, it's more classic. So it's just two different flavors for the same genre. I don't think it's arcade. I don't think it has to go away. They can coexist. One is just more classic, more traditional in a way. One is more modern. Like Kevin, like you said, it just depends on what the developer wants to make you feel, or the way they want you to approach the game. Do you want
right.
to keep
Hmm.
uh, retrying again and again quickly, or do you want to think more of it as a challenge that you have to complete it perfectly or almost perfectly within 3 lives? It's a different approach.
I
Mm.
mean, so I actually fall in the line that I do think it is archaic. And I think that a lot of modern
Oh,
video game makers think it's archaic as well, as evidenced by when was the last Mario game you played that you could actually like run out of lives?
Oh, you know what? Come to think of
Like
it,
there are
yeah.
lives in Mario games, but they also give you like millions of them, so who cares, right? Like
Hmm.
right.
Mario games use one ups literally as a reward for finding a one up. Like it's not as an actual like I can keep playing this game longer because at any given point you have 87 lives, right? Like, who cares? And the more games I play, Donkey Kong Country kind of did the same thing. Like it had lives, but they kind of didn't matter. And that's a hard game too, and it's just kind of the same thing. And so you
Right.
see a lot of games kind of go in the direction of Celeste, where there are no lives. Period. Just restart, right? The games that have the mechanic that you mentioned, Kevin, are kind of like that too. Like you die, you have a punishment for death, that you then got to go like gather up your gold, but you can't like die 5 times and then restart the game or something like that, right?
Right.
Which is literally what like Blaster Master on NES. If you died a number of times, you had to restart the game. There was no continue. Like it was just over.
Mm.
So all of that stemmed from arcade games
Hmm.
originally. So arcade games are built to make money by having you purchase lives, pretty much, right? Uh, I I understand why they came over like that because home consoles kind of modeled arcade games for a little bit, but as we kind of grew away from that, I can't think of an actually really good reason why, okay, if you fail 5 times at this, we're going to make you play more of what you just played. That doesn't really make sense from a logical point of view for me. And there are some games that still kind of do that, but it's just like, why? And I can't, like, I like a lot of games that do that. The Mega Man X games in particular kind of have that mechanic where you
Right.
go into a level with 3 lives. If you lose all your lives, then you got to restart the level as opposed to starting from a checkpoint. um that got brought up as kind of a point of contention, and honestly I couldn't defend it because I don't know exactly what the benefit is there.
You know what? Now that you brought that up, I can see why you'd say it's archaic. And when I think about games like Ninja Gaiden, and even the old Mario games, you if you compare the length of those games to like the games like now, like Celeste and all that, like
They're a
the
lot shorter.
they're a lot shorter, right? And so because the fact that they had the lives, it made it seem like it's a longer game than it really is. And so I think at the time when the length of games, the true length of games, assuming that you don't die like even once, which is like nearly impossible. You know, it's yeah, definitely a lot shorter than what we have now. So in that sense, yes, it is archaic, but I still think that there is a way to have lives in the game that
So I don't disagree with you, but what was the last game you played with a live /continue/game over strategy that like you thought did it well?
Oh boy.
I'm honestly
Hmm.
trying to think of that myself.
I can't think of one right now. One that did it well. Ninja Gaiden was.
Ninja
That's
Gaiden
a.
was awful about
It was
it.
awful. Yeah, it was really bad about that. Oh boy, I have to
And
just like
even
pick
that,
my
I mean,
brain
you're
for
going
that
back to
one.
NES games, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I
Oh, all right.
I guess where I kind of land on it is like, has a game ever been enhanced by making you play more of what you just played before?
Hmm. I guess in the end, not really. Well, okay, I guess because like even back, like maybe the expectations are different. Because like back then, it's like, oh, okay, this is what we're used to. Like, oh, like you have 3 lives, then you lose all of them, you go back to the very beginning of the stage, and it was very typical for developers to have it that way. But now it's like, okay, well, it's not that punishing, and games don't have to be dictated by having a good game doesn't have to be dictated by having to have that challenge, and if you lose all of the lives you have to go all the way back. It's the standards are a lot different now, and I think it's in a better place. Like, I'm gonna say again, Celeste is a very good example of it. I mean, it's a tough game, but it is very forgiving when it comes to if you die at a certain spot, you can go back to a certain, like, the beginning of the area, and I think that is the right way to go about it. And I think Celeste is a very good example of that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably a best in class at this point for the level based platformer where you enter a room and then that's your checkpoint. I think they do a great job.
And I also want to mention one thing. Shovel Knight does an extremely good job too. You can just break the checkpoint and take the crystal.
Right.
And like, if you die like in the next area, that's on you because
Yeah.
you didn't have to take the
You
crystal.
go all the way back, but that's your fault. Yeah, I agree.
So I think that is a good example of having that sort of like lives in a way. It's not really a life, but it's just like you took the risk. You get some money, but you lose some of it. You go all the way back. That's on you. I mean,
The only thing I'll say to kind of counter my own argument here, if I think back to some games, if you make them easier through the use of like save states and rewinds and such, you don't come to gain the same level of appreciation for those games.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
So
mm-hmm.
like the old Mega Man games and such, like you were forced to kind of replay those levels a few times, and you would gain more of. It's kind of weird, like more of a appreciation for the levels themselves as you were playing them more. Kind of crappy reasoning, but it's there. Like you learn the levels a lot more, and you gain. Okay, you're doing this here. I got it, and then you start kind of speed running the levels a little bit. You get better at them and such. It's like so that little loop was kind of interesting. And a benefit to it. But that's the only thing I'll say is as you take away challenge like that, you also see this in like if you play Metal Slug games on console
Yes.
now that you can just buy credits, quote unquote buy credits by hitting a button or whatever. Those games are like kind of boring. Like they're cool still, but then you just like stock up on like 20 lives and you're like, well, I can't lose,
Right.
So you just kind of run through it. So there's a mix. I don't know that it is completely 100% phased out at this point, but I do definitely trend into this is kind of an old concept of games that most games don't need to lean into anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you made some really good points about that. I guess what I was also thinking is that the game over mechanic might work much better for something that is procedurally generated. I'm thinking
Yeah.
something like The Binding of Isaac, because if
Mm.
you have to restart, if you lose 3 or 5 lives or what have you, whatever you're gonna do again, at least it's gonna be a little bit different because the levels, the
Absolutely.
enemies are randomized. So in that system, I think it works really well.
Oh, Sergio, you just made a fantastic point. So that question I asked
Yeah.
of a current game doing it well, pretty much every roguelike is that strategy now of
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
you have a set number of times you can get hit or something, and then you restart the game, and that actually is the loop of the game. And yeah, so roguelikes, there you go. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's your champion right there.
Yeah, and thank you, Sergio, for pointing it out. I like to add Flint Hook as a good example of that
Hmm.
because it follows the same sort of formula.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, well, there we go. Well, we've definitely fleshed that question out
Solved
pretty
it.
well.
Got it. Sergio, you want to ask the next one?
I like this one also by Dragon. He asked, "Are credit themes in games underrated? Like
No.
the music that plays in credits. You think no?
No, next question. No, I'm kidding. I mean, so it's a piece of game music that you typically listen to once ever and don't remember after you've beaten the game after a while. So yeah, probably.
Yeah,
yeah.
not only that, but I mean, there are a lot of games that we play and we don't finish, so we don't even get to that part. And I'm also thinking sometimes if you beat a game, if you didn't really like it, you might just walk away while the credits are playing, or if you liked it a lot,
that's
you might
true.
be hyping about it, like tweeting about it or doing something, just celebrating, and you're not really paying attention to the music. There's a lot of reasons why you would miss that music, and usually it's either a really good remix of the music in the game or a very unique piece. They're usually really good, so yeah, definitely underrated.
Yeah, I agree. Both y'all have made some good points on that. Because when you think of credits, like even when you're a little kid, you just want to skip through all of that, right? You don't care about like who, like all
Yeah.
like the different people who made it. I think that's a fact. But later on, as you grow older and you start to appreciate the people who actually make those games, then I think that yeah, we still tune in and we see who's done what, especially if you know someone who is part of that project, that game, which definitely deserves a spot, just part in the spotlight. So yeah, I definitely think it's underrated, and I should personally, for me, I definitely should pay more attention to the songs. And nowadays, like when the credits roll, I just well, I get lucky. We can get lucky if there's like different scenes in the game that show up during the credits where you know just which is nice. But yeah, right. Aside from the point, credit themes, man, I don't even know because for me, I really like Pokemon Sword and Shield rival music, and the credit music. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those that, and typically it's a nice overture that kind of goes through a bunch of the game themes up to that
Yes.
point. So typically it's kind of almost a recap of the game's music.
Right.
Zelda games do that really well, and they have little like where are these characters now, and everybody's dancing type,
Yeah.
ending scenes that are pretty magical. But yeah, so I mean, of course they're underrated. You pretty much only listen to them once, and you may not listen to them then. So yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, next question, man.
All right. Next question. Ooh, I gotta go with the big shots question. Okay, you can enroll any video game character into Garrick Mach, which is the setting of Fire Emblem Three Houses, mind you, and recruit them into your house. Who are you recruiting, and what class are you making them? Ooh, boy.
Probably
Okay.
Doom guy.
Yeah. Doom guy.
Grand scheme of things, dude with a gigantic gun running through Fire Emblem. Yeah, probably that.
Yep, that's a good one.
And what class? I'm just gonna go with Doom guy.
Put down the hashtag Doom guy.
Yeah, I wanted to answer this real and say Link or something like that, but then I saw
Nah.
probably Master Chief. Samus Aran. Yeah, this is the method I'm going. I just think it's they're not ready for that.
Nice.
Good choice.
Well, I was thinking Lara Croft as an archer slash thief.
Oh,
I like
that's a
that.
good one.
I think she would do great. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's a good one too. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with something maybe off the wall here. I'm gonna go with Parappa the Rapper, but not in a rapping way. In a like think of Parappa the Rapper, but more of a medieval version. And instead of rapping, he does like folklore poems or whatever. And then he would be either a bard or a dancer,
Oh my
maybe a bard.
goodness.
And like he would have this ability to if say like you use his ability, right? And then you have to like press the buttons in a very timely manner, like when you're dancing to the music or in a folk song or whatever. And then if you do it right, if you get it perfect, the character that just moved can move 2 more times and attack 2 more times.
That's not even a mechanic in Fire Emblem, though.
I know, but wouldn't that be great? Like, come
No.
on. I mean, it's like bordering Tokyo Mirage Sessions a little bit, but not really. Anyway, that's what I.
Nice.
Yeah, off the wall.
Okay. Let's do one more round of these because we actually got some really good questions. So I'm gonna go back to Dragon, and this one's I'm interested to see how this one goes. Who has better enemies, Mario or Zelda?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
The spicy one.
Yeah, ooh.
It is spicy. I think
With
there's
the
a
hot
clear
sauce.
answer here. I really do.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I think the clear answer is Mario.
Ooh, Mario. Ooh, okay.
Which, raise your hand if you expected me to go that route. I'm not raising my hand right now. But no, I think the clear answer is Mario. Because Mario's enemies are so freaking likable.
Yes.
Mhm.
Are they really good at being bad guys? No, not really. But Mario's all kind of a stage play anyway, and they've successfully made heroes and icons out of things like Koopa Troopas, and Piranha Plant made it into Smash, and Bowser is just so freaking adorable, and yeah. So I think definitely in terms of likability, have to go with Mario here.
Yeah, I probably have to say the same. I think, and the thing is because there's a variety, and also a lot of the enemies, they show up in different games. Like
They play tennis together. Everybody's
Yeah.
friends, man.
yeah, man, and even Super Mario Kart, Bowser, can you imagine Bowser and Donkey Kong Jr. from way back in 1981? It's very yeah, I have to say in terms better could mean more inclusion. It could be they could be vicious. They could be but in this case, because the enemies in Mario games have more of a spotlight than the enemies in Zelda. I mean, you have Ganon, Ganondorf, whatever. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, if we go through the Zelda bad guys and you remove Ganondorf from the picture, the complexity of the enemies really falls apart.
Right. That's it. That's all you got.
Like, you've got Bokoblins and Moblins and things, but compare that to Goombas and Koopas and Hammer Bros and stuff. It's no contest. It really is not.
Mhm.
And then think about, would it make sense if Bowser and the Koopas and the Goombas eventually said, okay, enough friending, let's actually fight these guys, Mario and Luigi and the gang. That would be a cool premise. If you turn that around and you look at Zelda, and then all of a sudden an Octorok wants to be your friend, it's like, whoa, what's going on? That doesn't make sense.
Stop. Don't like this.
Oh man. So there you go. That's your answer.
Yeah, Mario, definitive answer.
Unanimous. Nice.
Mario.
All right, Sergio, one more.
Here we go.
Question by Ganjerico, I believe, or Ganjericho, they say.
Mhm.
Have you ever played the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles spin-off, My Life as a King? If so, did you like it? Have you even heard of it before? I think we could get any other Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles spin-offs. I heard of this game. I believe it also there's 2 of those for WiiWare.
Yep.
And one of them was like the big first games for WiiWare back in the day. They sound interesting. I kind of think to like Final Fantasy spin-offs. I guess maybe because they take less time to play than the actual mainline series. And, they take more liberties. They can have all the characters from all the series, which is pretty awesome. I did not play it, but I heard good things about it. I'm all for Final Fantasy spin-offs for sure.
I gotta be honest. I have no idea what that was. So I had to look it up right now. I'm looking at it right now on Wikipedia. A city building game?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
it's more of a simulation. So there's 2 of them. There's My Life as a King and My Life as a Dark Lord. Yes, I've heard about them. Believe it or not, I did not play them. So I love Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. These were so different. And also the Crystal Chronicles franchise, as it were, kind of fell apart after the first game.
Yeah.
For
Mhm.
me, like Ring of Fates was decent. Echoes of Time was actually pretty good, but it didn't match the first game at all.
Mhm.
Neither one of them did. And then there was a Wii game called The Crystal Bears, which was completely different and awful.
Oh,
And then there were the two WiiWare spin-offs, which kind of came out, and I just kind of ignored them at the time because they were very different. I heard they were great. Unfortunately, WiiWare has been shut down, so there's no way to get these games anymore.
Oh
man, that's
no.
So
true.
they technically they're not available to get. So yeah, no, I didn't play them. I did definitely hear about them, especially after the fact. People hyped them up, but yeah, didn't really take the opportunity.
And it's cool that these are spin-offs from a spin-off in a way, and it goes to show you how big Final Fantasy is. We might talk about that later in the show.
Oh, I hope we do. I hope we do because again, from a previous episode, it is my favorite series of all time. That may or may not change depending on how Final Fantasy VII Remake does. We'll see.
Yeah, all 9 parts of that. Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm not feeling that great now. I'm just kidding.
You
We'll
know
see.
it's gonna happen. I'm not even like.
I know, but I mean, if there are 9 really good parts, like okay, which will be done by 2030, but I mean, still, that would be.
Yeah, we're all gonna be in like our 50s by the time this game is done, and yeah,
Yeah. Well, I plan to live until 109, so I think I should. Yeah, I'll be
good.
all right.
Okay,
Oh.
then you have time to play it. Excellent.
Yeah. Let it be known.
All right, Kevin. One more question, man.
One more question. Let's see. Wow. Oh boy. One more question. I was gonna ask one from Shy Guy. This is a very short one, but I don't know if it's a
Don't ask the dog question. Yes, your dog is
okay.
a good boy. There's your question.
Yes.
Okay.
Shy. Okay. Next question. Very good. Okay. So next question by Dragon or Dragon. Do you believe that a long-running family-friendly series owes it to its older audience to mature in its gameplay or themes in order to appeal to that specific older fan audience? Or is it okay for a series to remain essentially as it always has, as a means to remain accessible in virtually every aspect, favoring a new generation of players? Now, I know what he's trying to get at.
Really? Is this based on a single game?
I think so. I think the theme is Pokemon. And what do y'all think? I mean, is this in order? Like, this is a pretty awesome question because we've talked about this in at least 2 or 3 episodes, including a review of one of the games in the series. Sergio, what do you think?
It's tough. I think the ideal answer is probably not the easiest answer,
Yeah.
which is to split it, have a part of the series that stays the way it has for the younger generation to enjoy the way we did, exactly like we did, and then a more mature, evolving part of the series that kind of goes with how most of the original players are maturing or growing as people. So we want a Pokemon series that stays true to form, and then a more mature, realistic Pokemon spin-off or side series. I mean, easy to say, right? It would take double the development team and money and effort and timing, but man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, I think I'm probably disqualified from talking about Pokemon again at this point. I think there's a difference between timeless and dumbed down is what I'm going to say. Like, Mario games are timeless. Mario games appeal to every audience, kids, adults, everyone. Pokemon, in my opinion, if you didn't play the originals, it's pushing it. I don't know. So it's mostly a nostalgia play at this point, and that, I already kind of said my thoughts on it. I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, I think it depends on the intention. I mean, if the company is trying to just make their games just a cash cow, milk it for all it's worth, then yeah, they could do whatever they want and just they don't owe it to anybody. But if they do care about the direction of the franchise in terms of being able to appeal to, all audiences, I think it is important to be able to be adaptable. I think Zelda is a very good example. The Legend of Zelda, from the very beginning, where it's just this very simple, just you know, going around an adventure and then just trying to save the princess and all that, and um, to like talking about like in Breath of the Wild, you have different themes of like there's betrayal, there's trust, there's like disappointment, there's like this the burden of having to save the world. I mean, I think a lot of those sort of overarching themes mean they're very well known, and they touch us in so many ways because we do want to be that person who can make a difference. And so I think it depends. So yeah, I think it depends on the intention of the company, whether it's for money, for being well known, or just to have a series that people can relate to and remember by. So yeah, it's a tough question for me. I'm split.
Tough.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, Dragon. Another question.
Another question partially answered. There you go. All right. So now we're going to get into the fun time of actually reading our own questions for each other. And I'm going to start with Sergio.
Mm-hmm.
Just because.
Nice. Okay. So the foreshadowing becomes
Reality.
the opposite. Yeah. So here we go. Imagine that Nintendo is going to release one last amiibo figure. It's not gonna have anything special really. It's not gonna come with a game. It's not really even gonna have any features on the games that are out there, but it's Nintendo's last amiibo officially. It's not gonna be really like bigger than the others. It's gonna be your typical amiibo. It can be a plush if it works better as a plush, but it is the last one. So
Mm-hmm.
who do you choose? Who do you think deserves it the most? It's not who you want, but it's more about what character would make the most impact as the last amiibo.
Oh my God.
Wow, that is okay.
Oh
It's
my
tough.
God.
Way to put it, Serge. Like, man, I did not. Okay, wow, my body just felt twice as heavy now. I'm trying to figure out what to say. To make the last impact. Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh.
have some honorable mentions. I'll say those at the end, but my answer is a character or someone from Final Fantasy, and I think, we talked about Final Fantasy. It has so many things. It has games, it has spin-offs, it has movies, music, it has its own concert series. Like, it has everything. What doesn't it
Mm.
have? So the thing is, which one is more recognizable or significant? A chocobo or a mugo?
Oh
I'm not gonna lie,
gosh.
a little Moogle
Yeah.
amiibo would be like really appealing for some reason.
I'm 60-40 split between the Moogle and Chocobo. I mean, Moogles there's more of a variety of Moogles with different personalities than Chocobos. So I would have to say Moogle. 60-40 split. Man.
There are multiplicative of Mughal personalities. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. Return of the word.
You guys are killing me every time you do that.
Actually,
I just want you to know.
Daryl, we talked about this before. Daryl said that the way we used it was wrong. So before, and granted, yeah, but so I think in that sense we should say what. So yes, it is multiple, or we could say the number. Wait, the amount of Moogle. I don't know. Can we just correct this? 'Cause
No, I think it's
We're
past
going
that.
with Mughal, Kupo.
Moogle Kupo. Okay. All right. I'm gonna forget trying to use the word multiplicative correctly. So, but yes, Moogle. Yes.
I am honestly trying to think of a Nintendo character at this point that is not fully represented in some fashion in Amiibo, at least their series. I'm having a hard
Man.
time. I really am.
I have one, but I don't think it's gonna have that much of an impact upon
Nathan
everybody.
Drake. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh man, that would be amazing. Day -5 purchase. Like I would put it in my hand before I even buy it. Before I even think about it, just I want the amiibo. Okay. Does it have to be a Nintendo character? It has to be, right? Okay. Dang it.
Well, Final
Not
Fantasy is not
necessarily.
a Nintendo character.
I know. I was thinking one, a Final Fantasy. Whew, boy. Impact.
I mean, even if you wanted to, if it's already an amiibo, but maybe a different form of it, if it's really that significant.
I really like Squall Leonhardt. I think that he is probably the most underrated Final Fantasy main character. But also, I believe that he has the most. He can have the most impact because of the way he, he, the way he grew up and how he lived his life. And yeah, he, was very, very, had a very interesting attitude of sorts. Just was not very social and just kept to himself a lot of times. But then, as Squall, you go through your journey, you find out more of his past and why he acts that way. I think it's a coming of age, and I think that he can have a long-lasting impact if he were to be the last amiibo. Now, I don't think he would. I think there'll be a lot of pitchforks initially because
Yeah.
it's like, why this?
Dude, he's not even the Final Fantasy character I would pick.
Right? Because people would think maybe Cloud or I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
Cloud already
Cloud.
has one.
Oh yeah, he has one. Yeah, or Cecil. I think Cecil would be a good one actually. Cecil would be
Honestly,
good.
if any Final Fantasy character were, I would definitely go with like a Black Mage, like the old style, like
Oh,
blue
yeah,
robe, yeah,
that's
who
a good
has
one.
shown up in a Mario game. So
True. Yeah.
All right, well that I would put it in my hand before I press buy. I would like Black Mage.
up until recently, I would have said Banjo Kazooie, but that's coming now.
Right. Oh, that would have been a good one if it wasn't coming. That's right.
Yeah, but it is now. So
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna be an extreme homer, and we're very Square centric on this one, but Geno. I would love a Geno amiibo.
Oh, I can
Gino
see that.
would be
It
great.
would look so cool because it looked like the little doll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, it's confirmed that he's not coming to Smash.
The
That's-
only other thing I think
no.
we're actually missing at this point is like I feel like Pig Ganon should have one. Like I'm talking
Oh.
like NES Blue Pig Ganon. I think should have one because all we got is like
Yeah.
weird looking Ganondorf at this point.
Right. That'd be a nice one.
Yeah, I would buy that one. And we've got like 7 versions of Link, so come on, man.
Yeah, that's way too many. I think your Geno answer was a really good one though.
The viruses from Dr. Mario would be a good one.
Hey.
That would actually be kind of a cool one. I would like that.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
yeah, I'm just gonna stick
Cool.
with it.
Well, the honorable mentions that I had, imagine Spyro, because in a way
Yeah,
he's
that's
kind of
fair.
the original Skylander, which kind of led to Amiibo, right?
That's a good call. Yep.
Oh.
And then for you, Daryl, non-specific action figure.
For me. Sure. Nice. I like that question a lot. Kevin, you got to follow that though.
Oh, I got okay. I got one. Now, Daryl, I know your favorite series of all time. Pokemon has been in your mind, but I'm gonna say
It's
this.
been
okay?
somewhere.
It's been somewhere. But we've seen the same formula time and time again. You're a trainer. You want to be the best that never was. To be a Pokemon master.
I
Obviously.
really don't.
Yeah. But what if the Pokemon company said, "Hey, we're not going to do this for the next game. We're going to do something different. We're going to, and the choices are you could be a Pokemon coordinator, which you can participate in Pokemon contests. You can be a Pokemon connoisseur, which is a person, now I'm reading from Wikipedia, who specializes in identifying the compatibility between Pokemon trainers and their Pokemon, or you be a Pokemon breeder. Which game out of those three, awesome occupations would you want to have a game about? A connoisseur, a coordinator, or a breeder?
Pass.
Oh no! Oh man, okay, fine.
No.
I was just trying to, yeah.
If
I
I
mean,
gotta pick one, it's got to be a coordinator. I think.
okay.
Because then you could almost treat it like an Atelier game, which
Oh,
it'd be kind of interesting. But yeah,
fair enough. Sergio.
I was thinking that too, but thinking more. A connoisseur sounds too fancy. First of all, that'd be
Mhm.
awesome. I'm a Pokemon connoisseur. It's like crazy good. And you would know so much about Pokemon, like you're saying. You would have to match them with the perfect trainer. You would also have to communicate very well with each trainer. So I like that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I think it would make a very good game, and it would be a bit more, a bit more complex. And I think that it would make to be it would be. I honestly think it could be a dark horse for a game of the year if they do it very well. Because it's not just about battling; it's about identifying that bond, the compatibility, and I think it's relatable, and I think that people can. You're gonna hear more people who want to be a Pokemon connoisseur than Pokemon trainers, hopefully. But we'll see. Pokemon Company, come on now. Yeah, I'm pitching. We're pitching this idea to y'all, so let us know.
Okay.
Or not.
Nice.
Game Freak, listen.
Oh man. So I have a
Okay.
question that I actually posted in our Discord and on Twitter, and you guys didn't answer. So haha.
Oh
All right.
no.
Here's my question.
Oh,
Specific games aside, what would you call your 3 favorite gaming genres today? And are they different than they were 10 years ago?
Damn. Okay. Wow.
So when I asked
genres.
this in our Discord, it instantly turned into a what is a genre conversation. I'm going to say this. Try not to do things like my favorite genre is a basketball thieving genre, Kevin. Okay? Like, let's try to stick to more industry standard terms, but
Can we take an edit?
No.
break?
No.
No. Okay.
But so try to stick to the more industry standard terms for genres. But if you fudge it a little bit, no worries. Okay?
Oh man, I can't say that one. All right. You got the X down too. Okay.
I got them
You did-
deep callbacks, man.
You did, man. If you like basketball thieving games, you know where to look for us.
Definitely my favorite genre.
Yes. Okay. So 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say right now, my top 3. I'm gonna go with RPG, roguelike, and adventure. Boom. You know what? And 10 years ago, I would not even know what a roguelike meant. I don't think I've ever played that roguelike 10 years ago. And I think 10 years ago it would be more like a platformer. I think RPG would still be there. Yeah, so RPG is still a constant.
So the one thing I'll push on when you say RPG, there's a ton of different RPG types.
Okay, JRPGs.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stick to it. No basketball thieving type of genre games. All right.
nice. Well, for me, I'm going with the constant first. I liked them back then, and I like them still today. Rhythm games. I love them.
Yes.
Now, let's go with the past first. I used to like action adventure, whatever we consider Zelda. Is that right? Action adventure?
Yeah, kind of. I lump that as in as like adventure, kind of. But yeah.
Yeah, more adventure than action, and Metroidvanias for sure. I used to like them more than I like them now. So those two would be replaced today by visual novels
Oh, that's a good one. My oral mention.
and what do we call it? Lighthearted kiddie RPG Pokemon.
I think it's a JRPG. You know.
It is a simplified JRPG.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good.
So what? So Animal Crossing is a visual novel for you?
No, I love Animal Crossing, but it's the only simulation game. I guess we would call it.
Right.
It's the only one that I like.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, when I think of my games, I think of like what game coming out. Like if you told me X genre was coming out, I would be excited about it. Nothing. Full stop. Like there's not a genre that you're like, hey, I'm bringing out a platformer. Are you happy? Maybe. I think I've still got to call platformers in mind. just because of games like Donkey Kong Country and Celeste, and even games, in the Mario franchise and such. I do like platformers. I always have, so that's always kind of been on my list. Then it gets a little tricky. So Zelda franchise is my favorite franchise of all time. I like games that kind of feel like Zelda, so if we lump those as adventure games, there you go. There's my number 2. My third one is interesting, and it's something that was not true 10 years ago, and it would be shooters, actually, which probably surprises people. If I'm forced to narrow that down a little bit, I would narrow it down to third-person shooters. And the games that kind of broke me of that, originally Team Fortress 2 really did, and then lately, more recently, games like Splatoon and Fortnite and Overwatch and such. If you show me a really good like third-person shooter, I'm probably in on it. So yeah, that's an interesting one. As of like 10 years ago, I used to think fighting games were among my favorite genres, but I just don't play that many of them. Not really. And I also would have probably considered like puzzle games in there, but again, my actual like for that genre is so specific to a certain number of games that it's just like, if you tell me a puzzle game is coming to Switch, I'm probably like, okay.
It's probably because we don't have a recent Tetris Attack type game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head there, Serge. I like Tetris, and I like Tetris Attack, and literally everything else can go away.
You hear Nintendo? Bring it back. I did think of one genre. If I were to play it like 5 years ago, I really enjoyed point-and-click adventure games 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Especially there was one in particular. I think it was actually 6 years ago. Grim Fandango Remastered. Really loved it. I still love it, but I'm just not into it as much, man. And visual novels. I mean, Coffee Talk is in my honorable mention. Is pushing visual novels back for me, and I don't know. But RPGs though is still my constant for sure. I can't get enough of those.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Whew. Well, wait, we got through that one pretty well, actually. So that was a hard question. We got through it. Sergio, one more.
One more. This is timing related, and we are recording close to Valentine's Day. What is the most underrated gaming couple?
Whoa.
When you say underrated, what do you mean?
I guess overlooked. Like they're not discussed as, they're not Mario and Peach.
Gotcha.
Video game romance,
That's
basically.
a good one.
And to start off,
boy.
I'm going to go with Yoshi and Birdo.
Whoa.
Okay.
I would not think. Wow. Okay. Wow. Now
Just assuming they are a couple. Let's just go with yes. And they've been in a lot of games together. I think the romance really started in Mario Kart Double Dash. They actually made a really good team there, man. That was actually pretty awesome.
That's a good game, by the way. Very good game.
And it's interesting that Birdo technically is supposed to be an enemy, but if she decides to be on the good side just to be more with Yoshi, that says a lot about their relationship.
That's commitment right there. Yep.
That sure is.
Fair enough.
Wow. I gotta get back on this one. Daryl, you go for it.
Well, I think the easy answer is probably, I think Toad and Toadette are like the power couple of Nintendo at this point. Just in general. No. So Link has this weird history of like having everyone in love with him always. So I mean, going back to like Ocarina of Time, maybe before that, dude, all the ladies, all of them.
Yeah.
All the ladies.
I don't fully get it, but I don't think that in some cases Link and Zelda are kind of a thing. In some cases, they're really not.
Right.
One of the cases that they're not actually comes from my favorite game in the series, which is Wind Waker, where Link and Zelda are just kind of like, they're bound by fate, kind of, but whatever.
Yeah.
In that game, I think Link and Medley were just they were friends. They traveled together. They were like partners and such. And I think that was the couple for that game.
Dang, that's. Oh, and you have a dog. name Medley.
Yeah, I do.
Yep. There you go.
She's also one of my favorite Nintendo characters and my favorite dog. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Oh boy. Okay. You know what? I just gotta say, I know there's Mario and Peach, but what about Mario and Daisy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
we don't
What?
talk about that. Isn't that underrated? I don't know. I don't.
Luigi
really...
and Daisy are a thing, man. Mario's not
What?
there.
What? No, that's not.
Dude, in
Oh,
Mario Kart, they have
man.
a statue of them dancing. Come on.
Oh man. All right. Okay, if I'm gonna go for underrated gaming couple, I gotta say I'm gonna go back to my main man, Squalene Hart and Renoa Hartley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you think of Final Fantasy couples, you think of like, Cloud and Aerith, okay? All the time. Or Cloud and, Tifa.
Cecil and Rosa all the day.
That is a good one. But I think Squall and Renoa, they are probably for me the most underrated. Yeah, I just, you have this unlikable teenager who grows up to be a bit more likable. And then you have Renoa just, trying to find her way in life and, dated the wrong person and in Safer Almacy. Yeah, I think I'm saying his last name right. If I'm not, sorry. And yeah, and you go through the journey and then they end up together and boom. It's a love to be told. So,
Nice.
The real answer is Samus and the baby, I think.
now
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Samus and the baby Metroid, I think that's the underrated couple right there.
Yes,
Man.
clearly.
Yep. Okay,
There
that's
we-
weird. Kevin, what's your next question, man?
All right. So imagine that you are the main character in an RPG, okay, and you have your two other companions on the venture. What will be your main weapons of choice
For all three?
for all three? That's right. Because when it comes to, RPGs, every character has their specialty, right? Cloud with the sword, Sid Sid from Final Fantasy VII with, the spear, Kane with the spear from Final Fantasy IV, or even in, I don't know. Well, it's not exactly an RPG, but Fire Emblem. You have Hector, the axe person. So, what do y'all think?
So, I mean, my character has to be fairly standard. So, sword, absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My main partner, I'm going with some sort of bashing weapon, like a club or like a little heavier, like some bashing club or a mace or something like that. And that works out. And then the third character obviously needs to be a mage. So yeah, fire. There you go.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
good
a good one.
choices. Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking along the same lines. I want the sword for sure. I feel like that'll be the best weapon for me, or the one I would be the best with.
Yeah.
I do want somebody with long range. I was thinking an archer, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of a mage. That would have been nice, but I'm with you there. Or somebody with a heavy hitting weapon, but I don't want an axe. I feel like the sword and the axe are a little similar, so I would want something else.
What about a hammer?
Get the nunchuck guy. Is he busy this weekend?
No, he's not.
Sweet. I'll get him.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh
With
boy.
the inevitable monk character that has like the cat claws on his hand. Yeah, that one. Okay. Kevin, did you answer that?
I did not, but I would not go with a sword. I would go with double knives.
Basketball.
Like-
Wait, what? Sorry.
Yeah, you could be playing basketball too.
It's pretty much Final Fantasy X. You just throw basketballs at people.
I think yeah, it's one of the other characters. The captain of that squad who uses the ball and for that game that I can't think of because I can't believe how crazy this could be. Yeah, so double knives. My second character will have to be using magic, so some sort of wand. It could be like a sorcerer. And the third would be a giant hammer, Okay, specializing
Yeah.
specializing in groundbreaking moves that are earth-shattering, revolutionary, that can just make the ground move. That's already groundbreaking. So that's my choice. And if they want, all of them can know how to play basketball. There would be some sort of basketball type of game, and it would be an RPG where,
By the way, the name you were looking for is Waka.
Yes, Waka. Waka's my guy. Even though I forgot his name.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, my question, the one I think it's gonna wrap us for now.
Yeah.
Until next time, if you could make one plausible video gaming crossover and have it come to Switch, what would it be?
Oh. Plausible.
Plausible.
Okay. Well, any game related to basketball and thieves are out of the picture. So
Did say plausible.
Yes, right.
Both of my questions included caveats to avoid that.
Oh man.
Wait, so it has to actually cross two franchises, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Damn. Let's see. It's 2 franchises.
Oh, I got a good one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Paper Mario and Tearaway.
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
Yes, that'll be awesome. I mean, I know Tearaway was more of a one-off. It did get ported to a PS4, but it kind of doesn't count like a franchise, really. Kinda. I mean, this would make it, and it would be a return to form. Because it would be a good RPG with experience and partners, and it would have all the whimsy of the Paper Mario series and the creativity and very cool paper crafting of Tearaway and very nice graphics. And it could mark the beginning of a nice relationship between Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah. No, I really like that one. And Tearaway, I mean, it's underrated. I mean, I wish more people would talk about that game.
Yes. Even
I mean,
knew about it, right?
Right, like the Dog Island. You know, I mean, I think that was...
Yeah, just
Thank
like
you.
that.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. No, but for real though, Tearaway is a pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good game. Oh my god, my head is actually hurting. I can't. Okay. You know what? For me, I'm gonna go with Parappa the Rapper and Crypt of the Necrodancer. I think that would be an amazing crossover.
Oh.
Because I love, for me, I love hip hop. I love rap music. Well, the older rap, not the new rap. Some rap from like the golden age of hip hop. That's another story. Or alternative hip hop. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it would be just as it would. Yeah, I just want those two, to be combined together into a, just that roguelike hip hop rap rhythm video game. That's what I want. And I think it would be great because we need more Parappa the Rapper. Come on now. Like, it's not a basketball thief thing, but it's the next best thing. So,
Yeah, oddly enough, if you had said, I want Final Fantasy cross with Mario in a basketball game, that would have been a true game. Anyways,
Oh, can I play? I want to play that.
yeah, it's Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on the DS, 3DS?
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yes.
I wish I played that. I've watched videos.
You
of
still can. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
you go to eBay. No, I'm kidding.
Wait, I do have a 2DS though. I did get it back.
Yeah, you can play
my
it.
friend,
Oh, nice.
go.
my friend was done with it, and I have it back. But I don't know. I have something called the Nintendo Switch that has been keeping me busy, even though
It is so hard to go back to the older systems at this point.
I
Yes.
know.
I don't understand. I'm looking up at the price for Mario Hoops real quick. Oh, you can get it for $10. There you go. Sweet.
That's like the price of lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So kind of a boring answer, but I want any Nintendo crossover that is not Super Smash Brothers at this point.
No.
I want any crossover between two franchises. Like a while back, there was like this weird, a few years ago actually, there was this weird rumor of like a Star Fox cross Metroid game that was kind of being rumored. Star Fox and F-Zero have kind of been in the same type of universe from time to time, and I just wish that something like that would happen. Whether that is a Nintendo Kart, as you know, Mario Kart with actual stages or courses on like Planet Zebes from Metroid, you know, that would be awesome. It'd be fantastic, and I hope it happens. One thing I've been dreaming about since I was a kid was imagine Smash Brothers done in the style of Kingdom Hearts.
But fun and good, right?
But fun and good. So yeah, just imagine like you're going on an RPG through the different Nintendo worlds, a la Smash Brothers, but in an RPG format, more in that style, and you could actually explore the worlds and such and go between them. Yeah, give me all of that, any of that, any two Nintendo franchises. I don't care what it is. Bring me Kirby Cross F-Zero. I love it. Let's do it.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought F-Zero into the picture because that would be amazing. It would be a day -5 purchase for me.
Doesn't exist, man.
Oh, I know. Come on, don't. No, now my dreams are ruined. I want it in my possession before I could even buy it.
What? Okay.
Would you take a Nintendo version of Skylanders where you can scan any amiibo and it's there, and basically you go through all the Nintendo worlds in like a collect-a-thon type of thing?
Yeah, and I can't believe that didn't happen. I really can't.
No.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Man.
On that note, I think we should probably wrap it. Sergio, we got one more. What?
Ooh. Sorry, I just want to mention one thing. I just want to give a shout out to Ronnie Chang. He's a Malaysian comedian, and one of his bits that he likes to talk about is how, you know, we rely a lot on having everything happen like right now, like Amazon Prime having like, you know, when you order on Amazon Prime, it's like put it in my hand before I buy it, and it's from his latest Netflix special. I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention it. That's why I've been talking about that. So, I thought it was really funny, and okay, I'm done. For now.
Oh man. Yeah, Sergio, you have one more question that we asked last week, and then let's do it.
A new one. Yeah, we have a couple of answers from our question last week, which was if you could buy only one game for any system for the rest of 2020, what would you get? Napping Rat said he's interested in the rumored Save Our Salmons spin-off game, which I didn't know about, and it sounds interesting. I'm into that. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice answer.
It's been off of Splatoon, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Dragon said the safe and most probable answer is Animal Crossing. Nice. But he's saying his most hype answer right now is probably Wonderful 101 because A, he loves the game, and B, it was announced to be coming back on his birthday. So he says answering anything else would feel wrong to me. But Dragon, you did answer something else. You said Animal Crossing. So there you go.
Fair enough.
That's my answer, of course. Animal Crossing. I mean,
really?
Like I kind of even joked about at the beginning. Nintendo could be quiet for the rest of the year as long as they don't delay this game for me, and I'm good. I'm good.
Oh my god.
So my answer completely depends on if we're expecting any of the rumored games this year or the games we kind of know are in development, but maybe not coming. Like if Breath of the Wild 2 is a thing, that's obviously my answer. But I can't necessarily count on that this year. So of the things I can count on, honestly, probably Bravely Default 2 at this point would be the one. Because that's the only one that I'm like super hyped for that is not like a remake of a game I've already played. So hopefully it's not a remake of a game I've already played. We don't actually know that, but it doesn't look like it is.
No, that's a good choice, and hopefully it comes out this year. Knocking on wood, if you can hear that.
I think it definitely is, but
okay.
Yeah.
Given the nature of the question, if just one game for the rest of the year, I gotta say, any system. You know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not my choice. I would not want to play that for the rest of the year. I want to play that for probably a good few months. But I gotta say, a series of a game that I've never played ever. Animal Crossing. I gotta say that would be the game.
Oh wow, really?
I know. Yeah. I mean, if I just given my schedule and with work and different hobbies and obviously you two and our awesome Discord community, I think Animal Crossing would be my choice. I've heard a lot about it. I've never actually owned an Animal Crossing game, but I think that this would be, if they had just one, it's gotta be New Horizons. So
Nice, awesome.
yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
really?
Surprisingly.
Right. I know, boring answer, but I think it's the right one for me. So, oh boy.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, question for this week is: you are tasked to spend the whole week with either Dimitri, Edelgard, or Claude. Who do you choose, and do you spend it in our world or in the Fire Emblem world?
I like this. It's very tied into our game of the month. Hooray!
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm like just into the DLC right now, and it is so good so far. Even though I've only played it for like 1.5 hours, but man, it's so good.
Well, you're like what, a fifth of the way through then. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's boy, I'll be ready for that one.
Yep.
When we talk about it. So, yeah, cool.
Nice. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. We're going to jump out of here, but you can keep the discussion going by chatting with us on our Discord group. The description for this episode has a link to our Discord if you would like to join. We are also on Twitter and on Instagram as Nintendo Jump, and we also have a Facebook group. Please send us any feedback you have at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. The best way to support the show is through our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/NintendoJump, or by leaving a review for the show in your favorite podcast application. We would really appreciate it. This is Sergio, and on behalf of Daryl and Kevin, thanks for listening. We hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
That is a tune from one of my favorite games, The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky, first chapter.
Why though?
Actually, second. Not
Why?
second.
Oh.
Why? Because it's good.
Okay.
What else do I? Okay, second chapter.
Bye, guys.
Don't get mad at me, Neon Falcon. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.